Good morning, class. How was the exam? I want to come again. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Why?
Oh, we spent a lot, but vacation was yeah, but we got it. Sanga gave us a lot. And yes, but it was around him.
Banda, because I see you are laughing, it means you can tell us more. Sinabula zosia. Osatana kusinthirani paper, because what happened was you and the people that were doing second costing, maybe ngatana kusinthirani mwina that time, because what happened was I told Victor to say the ones that are just starting, this is the paper. Those that are doing for the second time, this is the paper. But I don't see anything strange. Paja Anton? James, yes. James, how was the exam? It was fair, great. But the BUT changes everything. I thought you said but, no. But other people have written very well and impressive. But others you tend to say, but were they in the same class? Kadit, comments on the exam. Be free, I'm your mom. How was it? Was it difficult? Okay. You are going to tell me the part that was difficult. How about love? It was fair. Okay. Introduction to costing. If to me, you wrote this, I think it's the same paper that I have here, where our first question was saying, discuss the three main roles of cost and management accounting. Is it? Is it the same paper? It's unfortunate that you are saying this paper was difficult. This was the cheapest, because this time I'm going to give you calculations. Here I was very fair. I didn't even involve figures.
But we were expecting calculations.
Oh, no. I said I will not ask you calculations, but things like FIFO, LIFO, and AFICO can come, but not calculations. You did very well that this time you are going to pass with flying colors, because this time I will put, because you have already done the calculations. Okay, so the first question that we had on our exam was discuss three main laws of cost and management account. This one, I said, it's a question that we cannot escape. Why? Because we are learning cost and management. whereby everybody has to know the main reason why we learn cost and management. It will be useless for us to be in class, and yet it's not important. That's why this one, even next part of the semester, it can also come, because we want you to understand why it is important. It's very important. Out there, the world cannot move without us. That should make you proud, because when people think about costing, it's everyone, even yourself. Even yourself. How much can this be if I happen to sell this phone? You cost yourself. It's the same thing that we're doing here. Everybody does costing. So it is very important. Why is it important? That is the question that we wanted to get. Why is it important that we should sit down together, discuss about it? What are the reasons? One, level, cost control. Cost control. Can you tell us why it controls costs? Just explain a bit on that.
It helps to keep track of money spent and how we can control the money.
You are going down. Our friends also want to hear online. You started very well. Continue as loud as you started.
It helps to keep track of money spent on. It helps to keep track of money spent on a product and how we can control the cost of a product or that money spent.
Okay. Yes, of course, she's saying cost control. The other thing that we can think about when we're talking about cost control is that you have made a product or you have produced a product. It is out there in the market. Maybe your friends also make the same product. You say, but people are not buying our products. How then should we do it? Okay, how should we do it? So that can make you think about controlling the costs. To say, how should we make? Maybe we should reduce the what? The cost that we have, based on how the market is responding. So cost control. The second one, Karivude? Decision making. You see other people even challenging me to say this is not a paper. Despite other people, you are saying that it was difficult. Others even going over 90, the same paper. So you say, but people can challenge. This is beautiful. Okay, so we're saying decision making. Karivude, can you explain to us how costing can be a decision to managers when they want to think about it?
Cost managers, before they want to invest it, they decide for where the cost is. They focus where the cost is increasing to reduce them to make some decision. But it's you know.
You are at a university. You're not at a primary school where you can say maybe they are going to finish on their own or also including Chichewa. No. The decision making is there. That you see that you have made, let's say, markers to the market. How much have we sold since we produced this number? We have sold only 3 out of, let's say, 500. Then what should we do? Maybe we should either change the market. It means that's a decision, okay? Or we should reduce the price. Or we should think another strategy of how we should sell in the market. So that is when you are talking about decision making in connection of cost. Third thing, third reason of the main role of cost and management accounting. James? Come again? Budgeting. Good. Budgeting. Budgeting. Can you explain to us how costing comes in when we're talking about budgeting?
Making good decisions when, let's say, a company or an institution is ordering, if it sells something like pencils or what, they make good decisions, budget well their money, buy like projects which they know are going to be much money on the market.
Okay, but when we're talking of budgeting, we think about what we had thought that is the amount that we're going to sell and the actual thing. So we want to compare with the actual and the planned or the budget. So when we are thinking about budgeting and costing, always when you want to cost, you first do the budgeting. Okay, you say even in the normal life, you say, okay, I want to sell this. Okay, but how much am I expecting from these two when I sell them? So it means you're budgeting, but you can think about them maybe being at 50 kwacha each. Okay, but when you go to the market, you see that they are not. They're saying, we can buy at 350. But I said, this is the amount. Okay, so sometimes the amount can be less compared to the plant, or it can be more compared to the plant. So that's why budgeting comes in when we're talking about cost and management accounting. Maybe the fourth one, Khadija, if there is. The fourth one?
Cost calculation.
Cost what? Calculation. Can you explain to us, please? Okay. So we are talking about cost calculation or cost ascertainment. Okay. You really see or know the cost of something. So imagine I said 3 main roles of cost and management accounting. And somebody says, this is difficult that I can't even make it imagine as cheap as that. Can anyone fail to explain on each to get a 20 mark? Never do. It's self-explanatory. So when we're talking about the main roles of cost and management accounting, those are. In fact, in our book, they said 3 only. Is it? Have you read them on that page? Have you ever seen them, Khadija? Yes, Ravu? You have not. Then you are not reading, my dear, in the book. We have that. How about Karivute? Have you ever seen the page that talks about roles of cost and management accounting? You have seen it in our book that we normally use? So many books, so many explanations that you can talk about the main roles of cost and management. So many people have said the roles of cost and management. So there was no reason complaining to say, Mom, it was difficult. It wasn't. It will be difficult this time, and get prepared for that. Yeah, so that is the first question that we had in our exam. I thought it was just as easy as drinking water, because it's something that I thought you cannot fail, and as a cost and management accountant, you should know the idea or the main role of doing the costing. In our book, we have cost ascertainment. Cost ascertainment, where they're talking about so many things that you can talk about how you cost basing on, let's say, fixed costs, variable costs, all those. You could explain them. How do you ascertain costs? So those are some of the things that you can do. Again, you have the planning. Planning, when we're talking of planning, we are talking about budgeting. Again, it can be the same, because when we're budgeting, we're planning to do something. Others have even written performance measurement and control. That is very good. That is very good, because you can measure your performance after you have done the costing. You will say, no, I've sold very little, or well, then we are supposed to produce more. Okay, so there are so many things or so many roles of cost and management accounting. As accountants, we cannot forget decision making. We should think about decision making. Why? We make decisions for us to continue selling or to withdraw it from the market if we have costed it more, or if the people whom we are selling are not responding well, then we make a decision that it has to be withdrawn back from the market. So this is the first question that we had. Any questions about the first question? We don't have one person, is it? Ndinda nawe sana bwe. To it. Linda and oh yes, and Timothy. So that was the first question that we had. And then the second one was explain the concept of product costs in cost and management accounting. And that one was also difficult. Love, let me ask you before you go out. Was it difficult? The product cost? Go out and come back. Let us hear from you that how was it difficult? We're talking about product costs. Product cost, if I remember, before we went for exams, I explained this in details. You can say that again and again, but you were there. James, you remember this?
You just kind of read it. The same day I came for the exam. I can't say I do remember so well, but I read it.
Okay.
I think I passed.
Good. Khadija, when you saw about product cost, you were confused. Was it easy? Love? Nervousness? How was it? Was it difficult, this one? Okay. I explained this at length when we were talking about them. I remember I said product cost, for us to cost a product, what are the requirements? That's what it meant. Yes, overheads, good. That's the and the winner, I was impressed. I said, this one is good. And ndimalephera ndinampasa penapo nampasa 19 ndati yaya hati mchosere kuchifukwa wakwacha. Otherwise, he wrote or she wrote nicely. Unfortunately, I don't know when I'm marking because it's only numbers that are there. Unless when I'm entering them, that's when I would know that, oh, so this is Band and this is James. Otherwise, when I'm marking, I don't know. Okay? Because I don't know your numbers. We are talking about prime costs. Khadija, what are prime costs? Good. The direct, if we're talking about prime cost, we're talking about direct material, direct, what? Come again? Labor. And then direct, what? Expenses. That's all. Because of this is now an exam, then you're supposed to explain to us what are direct material, and you can give examples on a product that you know. I remember the other one, I don't know who is this one, coding. I was impressed. He even wrote nails on the exam paper. I'm telling you, people can think. Even drawing nails, different sizes. That is good. We want people who can think and can explain to somebody that doesn't know. That is cute. So we're talking about direct material, direct labor, and direct expenses. These are the ones that when we're costing a product are seen direct to the product. Okay? The direct ones, or put direct to the material. The second one is what? No, the one that you said the other of factory overheads. Loveness, what are overheads? Or indirect, yes, but don't write or indirect, but write direct, indirect, material, indirect, labor, and then indirect expenses. You said it is very difficult. These are the things that we already know and we learned. And I remember I could even give examples of what the benches or desks that you are leaning on. To say, yes, we have a desk here. But despite having a desk, we know that it's a plank, which is a direct material for this product. But we have other things that we cannot see, but they're there. So these are the indirect. And we even gave winners glue and so many other examples. So when we're saying about product cost, this is what we're talking about. The third one is what? Very good. Periodic. And when we're talking about periodic costs, and which are these? Love. Good. Administrative. Stroke what? Distribution. Distribution. You write that and explain each just in simplified way. Who cannot give a 20 marks? Which teacher cannot give a 20 marks? It's obviously it means it's a 20 mark. Only that you don't read. That's to those that have not met it, that we were not reading. And not only that, you depend on me talking without you going to research more. There's so many answers to what we learn in class. And others have impressed me to say, yes, this is beautiful. This is nice. And to those, please continue reading. And even those that have not done very well, please concentrate on reading. So this is what we are talking about, the second question. Second question is that. Any questions about that? Any questions? When we ask each other in class, any questions? No. But when an exam comes, you say, no, madam, no. It's this difficult. It's not. It's not difficult that you don't read. You don't research more about what we have learned. So these are the answers that we expected from you. And if you wrote them, no problem, please. That's a congratulations to you. The third question is analyze the main three elements of cost. Put into a product of a product. Put into production of a product. What are we talking about here? Three elements. What are the elements of cost? Yes. Material and expenses. Three. So you want to tell me that this was difficult. You could not explain about material. You could not explain about labor. You could not explain about expenses. And if there was a cheap question paper, and even if you can check to those that came in before you, you will not find a cheap paper like this. This is cheapest. So we are talking about the three elements of costs. Three elements of costs. If we're talking about three elements, we are talking about the main things that we count when we are costing, or for us to make a cost. So let's say one, material. Material. Can anyone explain about material? Material. Yes, love.
These are all very
Good.
intelligent materials that are involved in making a product.
Good. They can be direct or indirect, but they are directly involved in the product. Great. I wish you had also explained that before we went in an exam, because these people would have known. And even handwriting, please write as if I'm not a doctor myself, that I went to a doctorate school, that when you just scribble, I read. No. You are supposed to read, to write very well, clearly. Don't scribble, to say, but what is this? No. Mind you, I'm elder than yourself. Okay? Your mothers are my children. Please be writing so that I should also be reading. Even if I wear glasses, I could not read. What type of writing is this? Please. Let's write properly, smart. We're at a university. Don't just scribble as if we all went for doctorate degrees. No. I don't know how to read the doctor's handwriting or prescriptions. I don't. So that is when we're talking about material. 2, we talked about labor. These are the main elements, 3 elements of cost. Labor. Can anyone explain about the labor?
Labor is the physical effort that is put by both of human being in the production of the product.
Yes, physical or mental. If you are good enough, you can even explain by giving an example. That shows intelligence. Okay? Then we go to expenses. Cheap things. Expenses. How are the expenses? Who can explain about the expenses of a cost? Can you vote?
These are all expenses that you can do.
Yes, but just like that, it means it's not going to attract more, because as it is here, yes, explaining in details, even giving examples, because we judge only how you have explained. Writing, let's say just a sentence that he talks about the same cannot attract more marks, but we should explain even sometimes by giving in examples. For example, here, if you want to explain maybe well on each, when you saw about an element, you can even give an example of a product that you can be talking about the material. The same, you can talk about labor. The same, you can talk about expenses for you to have enough stake in the answer. Any questions? Any questions? So now, your first impression that the exam was difficult, I think is going to change now. Because these are the things that we learned in class, and cheap ones, for that matter. So this is the third question that we had. Then the fourth question was explain how many questions. We didn't have an extra one. It was choosing all of them. That's what I was telling you to say. When I write to say these are the expected areas, when it goes to Senate, they remove some of the things. But I gave you more than 5 questions. Okay. So the fourth one was explain the importance of cost and management accounting. Can you tell us the importance of cost and management accounting? That's where you students are confused. Is it different with the first question? So why were you saying it was a difficult paper? Sometimes we tend to think to say, no, they should not go far, but they should be within the answers that they are answering. Is it different with the first question, Banda?
No.
Why then were you thinking so big to say? Sometimes you think more than we think. Why? Because we say this is the area that these people are going to reach. But you tend to think very deep, say, maybe the lecturer doesn't want this, he wants something different. No. Answer what you have read. Don't think about more than a lecturer. It's just the same with the first one. Others wrote, but not the same, but they wrote beautiful answers, which is good. Which is good. But others were completely lost. To say, wait, why is he talking about this? So this was the same as the number one. Should we explain again of the number one? Khadija? Good. So we come to the last one. The last one explain why coding is important in material control in cost and management accounting. Cheap things. That's where I tell you somebody wrote. I said, this is nice. I don't know whether it's in this class or the weekend class. It was beautiful. He said, this is nice. People should be thinking like this. Giving an example by even giving examples through drawings. And I remember, not this class, but the cost and management that we're doing the second time. Minimum and maximum levels. I was impressed to say, this is beautiful. Even if you are very lean with or mean with the marks, you tend to say, why should I do that? Even drawing the what? The minimum and maximum level diagram, which is beautiful. Those are some of, when you give an answer with let's say a diagram, that shows that you're intelligent, and not only that, a lecturer is impressed and gives you more marks because a diagram also attracts another additional marks on that. So it was nice. Coding. I remember when we were towards the exams, I also explained coding extensively. I don't know why we were saying the exam was difficult. I don't know why we were saying that. Can anyone explain coding? Coding.
Everybody is way over, right?
Good. Khadija?
Coding is labeling of materials using numbers,
Good. Just like that. Us as cost and management accountants, we are going to be involved. Maybe as a boss, maybe as somebody who's going to be, let's say, in a warehouse where there are huge or big things. Small things like, let's say, nails, or even smaller than nails. How are you going to identify them? Or you're a boss and you come in to say, I want to check. If you don't know what is supposed to be done in connection of coding, they are going to fix you up to say, the brother doesn't know. So why are we learning coding? Coding, it's something that we should know how they identify material in warehouses. Most of us have ever seen, mainly in hardwares. There are so many things. Sometimes maybe our parents send us to hardware to buy something in connection of maybe at the house. We go there and they say, can you take that? You just see somebody going straight. And yet there's a label that you don't even understand. They understand. So those are some of the things that us as cost and management accountants have to know. Coding, where we mix letters and figures for us to identify a particular product. Okay? We gave in an example of a nail. And even our book, I think, gave in it's the same example or else a different one. But we can have as many as we can. You can give in anything to say, let's say you are selling maybe cotton, okay? Cotton. And it's difficult to know that this is first grade, this is second grade. You can write first grade, maybe FC, first grade or first FG grade of cotton. Then you label. Or A, which means the grade is A, or else AGC1. AGC2. It means that's first grade. This is maybe grade, it's the same grade, but the B part. So it depends on how you can explain. So these are some of the things that we can think about when we're talking about coding. Any questions? Any questions? Love, was the exam difficult? They don't understand at the online. Good. Khadija? James? Good. Karivute? You were lost in the second question. You didn't remember the product cost.
I knew that what, but
Not the same. In our book, we have a diagram. I think that one, maybe you forgot it. That diagram, this one. That one. We remember this diagram? Yes, this is the product cost here. Product cost. You can even write the same diagram. That's being intelligent. Because mostly when I'm explaining on the board, I explain just that as 1, 2, and then 3. You can do that. It's in your book. I don't take questions from my head. I take them from the book. And those that you have already learned, I don't just pick any question. No. It means I'm not assisting you. We want to see your understanding. Do you understand when we're lecturing? That's the main thing. I hope everybody has done 90-something%, because you can't take 100%. At least the other part is mine. Once, you know what, when you have done very well, once you have written and they say you made a mistake, I take off a mark. I say, no, this is my mark, because it's not smart. So when you're writing an exam, make the lecturer not subtract any mark from you by writing smartly. I was impressed, even other people doing that, underlining, very beautiful. You say, this is nice. Then they start writing. They come to another point, they write and they underline. That is nice. That is what is I wanted. Not just writing as if Mind you, you are going to be bosses. We are not going to be there. We don't want people to be talking to us that, who taught this man? We don't. But they should say, hey, but who taught you? Which school taught you? Okay? They should be impressed on what you're doing. So that is that on the exam. I don't know with online students, otherwise, I wished we had also heard their questions, because maybe they had questions. But if they have, they can always post on the group and then we can answer them. So we have to go back, start our topic that we left. Where did we leave when we were learning last time?
Control room.
The last part that we left when we were doing our classwork. Love, we don't remember? Labor turnover. Good. So we're going to go to labor. Accounting and control of labor. So you are saying that what if I had given you the EOQ? It would have been difficult. Banda. Accounting for and control of labor. So we will remind each other from the stats of labor, and we said that labor is the third part of the element of cost. We started with material, and then we went to overhead, is it? We learned about overheads? No? No. Okay, so this is the second part of the elements that we want to understand. So we said labor is a physical or mental effort expended in manufacturing a product or a service, and then labor cost is the price paid for using human resources. The compensation paid to an employee who engage in production-related activities represent the factory labor costs. So that's our book, basing on labor and what is the meaning of labor. This we had already learned last time, but I thought it that we should start from the beginning, because we were on our exam 2 weeks. We didn't go to what we are learning, but I just want us to be reminded of what we had already learned. So we are saying that when we're talking about labor, we are talking it as the principal labor cost, which we said that wages paid when you workers are doing production, and wages are the payments that are paid either hourly, daily, or on a piece work basis. So we are saying when we're talking about wages, this is the accounting for and control of labor. Okay, So we are saying that when we're talking about a compensation of labor, we are going to start with wages. Wages, where we are saying it can be paid hourly, daily, or sometimes as piecework. As piecework. We have ever seen or heard about the being paid hourly or else daily. Other people say, I don't want to take my daily payment, but you will be giving me at the end of the week. Others will say at the end of the month. Hourly. Others say I will be getting hourly payment after a month because I will pay rent and so on. And then the piecework. Piecework, we have ever heard about piecework, where we can think about Ganyu. When they finish working, they are paid there and then. So this is in the group of wages. And then we have a salary. A salary. A salary which doesn't change, but it's fixed. It's fixed. Yes, as we already know that the fixed costs, they can be fixed, but in the long run, they can change. But if we go back to the graph when we had learned the fixed costs, we said fixed costs are straight. Okay, they're fixed, they're the same. But in the long run, they can go up and then they're going to be straight again like that. So it's the same with the salaries, they cannot change, they're going to be the same as sometimes in the long run, they can change. These salaries can be fixed. They are fixed. And these are paid to managers or even clerical officers. So it's fixed that you can't expect to get a more salary this month, this month than last month. So again, when we talk about labor, we also have direct and indirect labor costs. They're the same with what we have learned about material. They're the same because we also have direct labor and also have the indirect labor costs. The direct labor. What do you think can be direct labor if we are talking about direct labor in the accounting and the control of labor? What can be the direct labor? Or you can explain of an example that you can think about.
These are people who work, but work directly on the product.
Mm-hmm.
builder or machinery.
Mhm.
Well, direct labor or supervisor
Those are supervisors are what? Okay. Okay. Now, Olavu, what he said. Khadija, you wanted to say which one between the two?
Direct labor can be traced in the production of products. For example, in any machine.
Mhm. Good. Yes. Those people that, let's say, they are producing something, those that really, let's say, operating the machines, those are direct labor that we are talking about. While I think Karivute has also gone as far as indirect. So in our book, they're telling us that indirect laborers are those who work on a product directly, either manually or by using machines. Okay? Direct labor is all labor that is directly involved in the production of a finished product. That can easily be traced to a product, and that represents a major labor cost of producing the product. Our example in the book is that assembly line workers in an automobile factory or knitting machine operators in a sweater factory. Those that knit sweaters in a knitting machine, a knitting factory, that is direct. So direct labor is considered both a part of prime cost. So the direct labor is also prime cost, as we have done on that product cost. It's also in the the prime cost and the conversion costs. So these are what they are telling us when we're talking about the direct labor. And indirect labor, what can we say it is in the group of what? Indirect labor? Overheads. Good. They're in the group of factory overheads. So when we're talking about indirect labor, we are talking about laborers that are not directly traceable to a production of a product. So that is what we are talking about when we are talking about direct and indirect labor. And then we talked about the accounting for labor. When we're accounting for labor, what is the method, or what do they do for them to account for labor? I'm in class, ndiri mu class, ndituruka 12 o'clock. So we are talking about how do we account for labor? Accounting for labor. Accounting for labor. We said, one, when we are talking about accounting for labor, we talk about timekeeping. 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 What did we say timekeeping is? Timekeeping? Loveness?
It is when workers, for example, here at school,
Yes.
when you arrive at the school,
Yes.
you stand
Good.
on the time card.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. We have so many examples when we're talking about timekeeping. When you come in, you're supposed, let's say, others swipe, they take their cards, working cards. I don't know whether they just swipe, they go in mainly at the bank, we see that, is it? Yes. Or sometimes they just press their finger, they go in. So that is recorded in a human resource office where they're saying Loveness has come in at 7:30, while Khadija